Welcome to an RPG in a Box video tutorial. In this video, we're going to take a look at one of the new items introduced in the Thingy system, which is placeable items. So I'm going to quickly show you how to set them up and how they work. So the first thing you need to know about placeable items is they only work in free movement. So you need to make sure that your map is set to free movement, either in the map settings or in the game configuration gameplay mechanics, I think it is. Yeah, movement system. So you either set free movement as your whole project, or you can set it per map, but obviously placeables will only work in maps that are set to free movement. Okay, that's the first thing you need to know. Other than that, how do you make free placeable items? The other thing you need to know is in game configuration, you need to go to user interface and you need to enable the new toolbar. So not the legacy tool item UI, you can leave that off. You do need to turn on the new toolbar. So make sure that's on, okay? Because we're going to use that to make our placeables. So to make a placeable, you need two things. You need an item and you need an object. So first of all, let's make our object. I'm going to go to import assets. I'm just going to import a chair. So let's just import that chair into RPG in a box. Go to objects. There's our chair. Okay. So the first thing we need to do is we need to go down into the settings for the model, the chair, go to thingies, expand that, go to placeable and turn that on. If you want to make a sound for your placeable when you place it down, you can do that. I'm just going to leave it as none for now. Now, if you want to make the item breakable, then if you have this enabled, then when you break the item, it will go back into your inventory. So it says here, if this model is breakable and placed into the world using a placeable item, the item will be returned to the player if broken. So if you want to place something down and then break it and have it go back into your inventory rather than be lost when you break it, this would be the option you need to tick. I'm actually not going to make it breakable, because obviously what you would then do is you go to breakable and you would turn that on as well, and then you'd have both, a placeable and a breakable. In my case, I'm just going to place the chair, keep it simple. We'll cover breakables in a separate video, but all you would do is just combine the two of them. Yeah, we would combine breakable and placeable together on one model. And as I say, if you want just the item to go back into your inventory so you can place it again, you can tick that. So we've now set up this chair model to be a placeable model. Let's save that. But now we also need an item. Okay, we haven't got one yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a picture of our chair. So I'll just quickly do that with capture image. And I'll just quickly snap quick image of the chair. We'll just call this chair. And then we'll go to items and we'll add a new item. We'll call it chair. We've made our item. We've given it a picture. Obviously, you could draw a picture if you wanted to instead of taking a picture of it. And then what you're going to do is you're going to scroll down to where it says placeable. You're going to turn that on. And there's really only one place mode right now, which is grid. And you'll see that it'll come up with a grid when you try to place it. Here's the important bit though. We need to tie it to the model that we made earlier, the chair model. And it's an object, not a tile. So we want to select the tree icon and it'll bring up a list of objects. If it's a tile, you'll click the tile one. This will give you a list of tiles. Obviously, we're not interested in that. So we're going to click the object one, select our chair, click OK, and it will say objects chair in the model field. Please note that the selected model must be a placeable thingy. So if you're going to use tiles, you've got to make it a placeable thingy first. Right, and that should basically be it. That's all you really need to do. You save the item, and then obviously in game, you need to have the item in your inventory. So let's go into game and test this. So here I am in game. This is the new toolbar. Nothing in my, oh, I shouldn't be in my inventory. I've obviously got a startup script that's giving me the item. Okay, well, I was going to do that anyway. I was going to give myself the item. But so once you've got the item in your inventory, what you want to do, select it and put it into one of your toolbar slots. So let's just put it number 1. And then if you have access to the mouse, you can just click the first slot and it will go green like that. And then you'll see the request coordinate style. If you've ever used request coordinate before, this should be familiar to you. You've got the green grid cursor thing with the chair inside the green box. It won't follow your mouse, it follows you in free movement. So if I move around as I turn, it will turn with the player. Okay. It's always a grid's distance. So you'll notice I can't ever place it further than one grid away. So it always has to go within one grid space from where the player is. And then when you're happy to place it, you just click. And that's it. Let's place the object. Let's do it again. Let's just give item 0001. And if I put that into slot 2, I'll show you the other way of doing it. If you don't have a cursor, and let's say you're doing it in first person mode, then the shortcut I believe is Shift and 2. Yeah, does the same thing. And then again, you'd walk around and click. So let me just quickly switch to first person, so you can see how it works if you're making a first person free movement game. So obviously in first person, you don't have a mouse cursor, right? So how would you do this in first person? So if I give the item again, open my inventory, as I say, you put it into one of the slots, and then because you've got no cursor, it's Shift and then whatever the number is. So in this case, Shift 1 selects the chair. And as long as I'm looking at a tile that's within a distance of me, because remember, I can't place it further out. Oh, I can. For a second there, it does in first person allow you to do that. So I could place it there. So your mileage may vary, but it has to be close. Any further than that, you see I can't see it. So if you can't see the object, just make sure you're looking down a bit so you can see it has to go around you in proximity to you. Okay? So you just walk around, and then whenever you're happy, you can, I think, right-click or press R. Yeah, R to rotate. Sorry, I did forget that. You can rotate things before you place them by pressing the R key. And then when you're happy, you just click, and there you go. That's how to make placeables. So it's really very simple. So with that said, I'll wrap up this video. Stay tuned for the next tutorial.